Wow, what's up? How's life in the big DGG verse? Been wearing that shirt for a week. This one? No, I bought like 3 purple shirts because I like purple. I think it looks cool. So I had to put my teeth in.
All right, good morning. Look, for months we have stressed the importance of distinguishing things we...
Bro, can you please turn the gain on your mic high? Wait. Oh, I thought you were trolling me, but I think you're not trolling me. Okay, hold on. I did a Google Meet earlier, and I think it turned down the volume. One sec. Oh, nope, you are trolling me. F you. Wait. No, wait. Is he trolling me? I can't tell. Oh, no, wait. No, you are not trolling me. Okay, there we go. You're lucky. You're so lucky. Your life flashed before your eyes, all right? Mother...
can control and things we can't. The importance of distinguishing things we can control and things we can't control. We can't control the trade policy of the United States. We recognize that policy has fundamentally changed from the policy in the 1980s, 1990s, 2000s. And it's a situation where the United States has tariffs against every one of their trading partners to different degrees. And it's in that context that our officials, my colleagues, have been working with their American colleagues on detailed, constructive negotiations, discussions on specific transactions, specific sectors, steel, aluminum, and energy. And a lot of progress has been made. And we stand ready to pick up on that progress and build on that progress when the Americans are ready to have those discussions, because it will be for the benefit of workers in the United States, workers in Canada, and families in both of our countries. Now, what we can control, absolutely, is how we build here at home. And that's the focus of Budget 2025, generational investment here in Canada. And what we can also control, or at least heavily influence, is developing new partnerships and opportunities, including with the economic giants of Asia, which is the focus of this trip.
Fuck, did I not retweet it? I saw something yesterday in terms of what he, I think, is referring to. I don't know why I started so many sentences off like, this can't be real, or I can't believe this. I mean, everything's believable now. But apparently there was some ad that happened in Canada. There was an ad that happened, and Trump didn't like the ad. And so Trump truthed out that we're canceling all trade talks with all of Canada. The fuck? I know your lawyers are probably advising you not to speak on it, but can you answer this one question? Traditional wings or boneless wings? I like flats for traditional wings. I think I could. Can somebody link me the Truth social that I'm thinking of? Here's the ad, apparently.
When someone says, let's impose tariffs on foreign imports, it looks like they're doing the patriotic thing by protecting American products and jobs. And sometimes for a short while it works, but only for a short time. But over the long run, such trade barriers hurt every American worker and consumer. High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by foreign countries and the triggering of fierce trade wars. Then the worst happens. Markets shrink and collapse, businesses and industries shut down, and millions of people lose their jobs. Throughout the world, there's a growing realization that the way to prosperity for all nations is rejecting protectionist legislation and promoting fair and free competition. America's jobs and growth are at stake.
So apparently, I guess Ontario paid for this ad and it ran in the United States. This is the second truth, I think, because I think I saw a different one initially. When was this? Oh, this was this morning. Canada cheated and got caught. They fraudulently took a big buy ad saying that Ronald Reagan did not like tariffs when actually he loved tariffs for our country and its national security. Canada is trying to illegally influence the United States Supreme Court in one of the most important rulings in the history of our country. Canada has long cheated on tariffs, charging our farmers as much as 400%. That's his trade deal, by the way, dipshit. Now they and other countries can't take advantage of the U.S. any longer. Thank you to the Ronald Reagan Foundation for exposing this fraud. Make America great again. And then the first one was, the Ronald Reagan Foundation has just announced that Canada has fraudulently used an advertisement, which is fake, featuring Ronald Reagan speaking negatively about tariffs. I don't know what fake means. Like, did they deep fake Reagan saying that? Or I don't know what the claim is exactly. Tariffs are very important to the national security and economy of the USA. Based on their egregious behavior, all trade negotiations with Canada are hereby terminated. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Now, does that mean we're not going to trade with them anymore? Or does that mean that we're going to tariff them at the rate we're tariffing everyone else? Or I don't know what that means. I don't know if he knows what that means. I don't know if anybody knows what this means.
So late last night, Donald Trump went on a rampage and announced that all trade negotiations with Canada were hereby terminated. And he said the reason he was terminating trade negotiations with Canada, he claimed, is because of a ad campaign that Doug Ford, the Premier of Ontario, was running in the United States. Trump called it a $75,000 ad campaign. It's actually a $75 million ad campaign where the province of Ontario basically uses the words of Ronald Reagan, who despised tariffs, except in the most extreme of extreme circumstances, and Ronald Reagan, who talked about the importance of free trade and how tariffs lead countries into depressions. And so Reagan's words were used in this ad that was blasted into all of the states in the United States to tell Americans that Donald Trump's trade war is crushing the American economy. And Doug Ford said it was important to educate Americans using Ronald Reagan's voice to also appeal to potentially rational-minded Republicans to the extent any exist. It's basically word for word Ronald Reagan's words in this ad. I'm going to show that to you in a moment. But let me show you what Donald Trump posted about that ad campaign. And this is why Donald Trump said that he was terminating all trade discussions with Canada. The reality is Trump's looking for any pretext to attack Canada. He always has, because he wants to take away Canada's sovereignty and invade it and make it the 51st state. That's what we've always...
I can't even say this guy's being unhinged because, I mean, Trump has said all of this. So,
you can go to live in France.
Oh, we watched this video before. I thought about this video a lot, actually, at the beginning of the year when I said I was thinking about, like, moving. Like, what would it take for me to leave the U.S.? And I thought about, like, living in other countries. And I really don't feel like I would belong in, like, Italy or Japan or whatever else. Like the only other country I feel like I could really move to would be Canada, which is just like America light.
France, but you cannot become... You can go to live in France, but you cannot become a Frenchman. You can go to live in Germany or Turkey or Japan, but you cannot become a German, a Turk, or Japanese. But
I don't know why this has like a
from any corner
electric remix over it, but okay.
Can come to live in America and become an American.
Good enough. Try to guess which foreign country he's talking about before he says it. I burst out laughing.
Can you talk about other countries' leaders or no?
Yeah, you can talk about.
Wait.
Can you talk about other countries' leaders or no?
Oh.
Yeah, you can talk about.
Yeah, I would f that guy up.
You would beat his ass.
Beat him, yeah.
All right, you can't
I'm kidding,
say
I'm
that.
kidding, I'm kidding.
That was a joke. That was a sick joke.
That was a genuine joke.
That was
but I
a
would
sick
square
joke.
up with him. I'd have no
You would
problem
square up.
squaring
It's
up
on site. You.
Wait, am I crazy?
The one, can you talk about
Isn't there normally like a volume thing on that? Oh, Jesus. Fuck. Okay. Sorry. Christ, I'm losing my mind here.
other countries' leaders or no?
Oh, and I can't fast
Yeah,
forward.
you can talk
Great.
about.
Okay.
Yeah, I would f that guy up.
You would beat his ass.
Beat him, Yeah.
I'm
kidding.
That was a joke. That was a sick joke.
That was a genuine joke.
That was
But I
a
would
sick
square
joke.
up with him. I'd have no
You would
problem
square up.
squaring
It was
up.
on site. You would.
I'd hike the trousers.
Yeah.
Dude, no, I was watching him give a speech about just basically just taking extreme measures against the citizenry.
Yeah.
What if like his vice? What do they have in Canada? Like a vice minister?
Who
They
knows?
have those bullshit title
British
ministers,
names.
dude.
Yeah, British names.
Fuck that, dude.
Yeah, I don't like British names.
Nah.
Make
Parliament.
me sick.
Can you talk about other countries?
Okay. I don't know why comedians are our new gurus, but whatever. One of the weird like mind breaks for conservatives has been older conservatives fetishize the fuck out of Reagan. He was like such an important character. However, it's funny because I talked with Hassan about this after his first Charlie Kirk debate in like 2019. One of the weird transitions that the Conservative Party has made in the United States has been this transition into like populism / isolationism, and this populist isolationist bend, I think partially grew a little bit out of the Tea Party. The Tea Party was this like splinter faction of the Republican Party that I think gave way eventually to like the Freedom Caucus that was about like libertarian ideals. And one of the weird things that Republicans have had an issue in the past kind of like squaring is they'll engage in kind of like racially motivated rhetoric for social issues. Like that's a big deal to them, kind of. You're talking about thugs and rap and culture and everything. But the economic bend of the policies that came from your Reagans, from your Bushes, were generally like your pro-corporate, large, like big business kind of stuff. So they didn't really do much about immigration. They didn't do much about illegal immigration. They didn't really do anything to, clamp down on mega corporations or anything because they, to some extent, like these things, big business and capitalism, all of that. Trump came, and I would say that the swing from Bush to Trump was enormous. So everything that Reagan would have stood for economically or internationally, Republicans will hate policy-wise, but they still have like this vision in their mind that Reagan was this holier-than-thou figure. Although I think they're trying to shake that, but that's really hard because that's like a substantial part of the conservative narrative about the history of this country. Reagan was like a big, good dude. So yeah, I don't know. They memory hold Bush so hard. Well, yeah, they all try to pretend that they all disagreed with the Iraq War and all of them knew it was a bad idea, and they just don't think about or talk about that, or they just say they don't like Bush. Yeah. Do you think rainbow capitalism and the conservatives losing ground culturally from mid-2000s to late 2010s helped the anti-big business sentiment grow? Maybe. I don't know. I really do. I feel like it was the quote. I should just have this on a soundboard. I still haven't reinstalled my soundboard. It's this line.
Wayne.
Say it. Say the line. Say the line.
Theatricality.
Never mind. I don't know where it is. There's not enough talking. I'm not listening to this whole thing. The whole victory has defeated you. I think that Democrats took over a lot when Obama came into office. And I think they just got lazy when it came to defending their ideas, and they wanted to push more in the direction of their political projects. And they kind of forgot. It's kind of a complaint I had, several years ago, that it's good to defend liberal ideas and you need to have an active defense of them because it's easy to forget them. And when the Democratic Party turned towards, not the Democratic Party, but at least like young people, far left people turned towards shitting on the system, the Democrats didn't push too much against that culturally, even if this didn't take heart in like their legislation. But yeah, once the conservatives started to become anti-business, anti-capitalism, anti-America, there wasn't much inoculation, I guess, on the left to fight against these kinds of ideas because they'd already kind of sort of been lightly pushing it. Is this the scariest thing that Trump said lately? How do you pick? I meant that corporations going with the cultural waves helped conservatives feel validated and being anti-system and anti-big business, but I could be wrong. I mean, corporations are always going to follow cultural waves, definitionally. That's capitalism. That's what they're supposed to do, right? They're trying to make money.
I think it's got to be handled in a proper way. If it's not handled in a proper way, we don't want it to happen again. We can never let what happened in the 2020.
Wait, is this
It's not like the
no, it's not. Somebody sent me this a while ago. I think yesterday, and told me I need to watch this. Trump makes an announcement, but this is not the same as whatever this is from. I'm guessing, huh? Okay.
I think it's got to be handled in a proper way. If it's not handled in a proper way, we don't want it to happen again. We can never let what happened in the 2020 election happen again. We just can't let that happen. And so the way we go, I know Cash is working on it, everybody's working on it, and certainly Tulsi's working on it. We can't let that happen again to our country. Look at what's happened where you have millions of people being allowed to come into our country, all because of a crooked election, where they come from prisons, they come from jails, they come from mental institutions and insane asylums, they're drug dealers. The people that they've allowed to come into our country, we cleaned
them up? Is that what he's going to say? They got rid of all of them? All 25 million? Are we up to 30 million yet? I don't know what the crime would be, but I think he should be locked up forever or exiled from the United States, unironically, for stuff like this. How can the president, the leader of the free world, still claim that the last election that he lost was rigged? It's just unacceptable. I don't know I don't know how you would do it. Well, in a functioning government, the process would be at the very least impeachment and conviction in the Senate. That would be the least, but it's just unbelievable. Look at this Rob Noor crash out. It's from a week ago.
I do not do that. And that's not what I'm saying when I say I'm above these people. I'm not making a claim I'm smarter than them. I'm making a claim that I have proven myself through these debates and my ability to have serious debates that I don't need the fucking Jerry Springer show. I don't need it.
Jesus.
Fuck him.
Are you okay? Wait, what happened?
I don't give a fuck anymore. Fuck you, Sarah. You fucking Jerry Springer host wannabe motherfucker. You suck.
Wait, who's Sarah?
You're fucking garbage. Your moderating skills suck. The truth is, you like Dusty, so you're gonna kiss his ass. That's the fucking truth. No one's intimidated by you and your fucking cretins. You're garbage. That's the truth. You fucking coward.
The Raging Tomato. Oh. I feel bad because this person invites me on stuff sometimes, but I don't really respond to him. Just because the shows always seem kind of unhinged.
Send in DMs. Let me give you some unsolicited advice. Here's some unsolicited advice for you, motherfucker. Learn to do your job as a moderator before you fucking criticize anyone else. How's that? Understand that you rely on the talent of others for your fucking channel success. At least with Radical Coder or Dusty, they're the ones doing the fucking work for their channels, albeit if they're successful or not, but not you. So don't come at me with your, the problem is, you take things too seriously and blah, blah, blah. Hey, have a laugh, bitch. Have a laugh about it. Don't take this too seriously, you fucking loser.
You okay, bro?
Right? It's all for yucks. We're laughing it up. We're having...
Yesterday, Hutch said the reason why Obama had 3 million deportations is because they broadened the definition of what counted as a deportation. So even though he's called the deporter-in-chief, he didn't really deport that many people. Is that a fair characterization? Since Pierce always calls him the deporter-in-chief. Yeah, that's my understanding, is that they started to count turnarounds at the border as deportations. And that's why the Obama numbers were so huge. The everything relating to immigration stats is very hard to understand. I feel like you really need to be in that world since nobody really tries to, in good faith, demonstrate what's happened. Like, more people getting caught at the border, is that good or bad? Because sometimes it can go up because you're catching more people. Sometimes it can go down because you're like not like patrolling as hard, or you're understaffing it a little bit, or sometimes it can go up because more people are trying to get in illegally. Sometimes it can go like, it's just like, I don't know, that it's the numbers. I feel like you can say a lot of different stories with the numbers, and nobody, obviously, whenever somebody comes to one of those debates with like one number in mind, I feel like it's always bad faith. Because like, can we contextualize this? 'Cause I don't know what the fuck we're even talking about. Yeah, it's really, really, really weird. Same with encounters being counted as people entering the country. Yeah, sure, yeah. Do you support mass amnesty? Yes, I think that it's not even about a moral thing or whatever, although it sucks because I guess I'm morally on that side, so people just accuse me of being biased. But like, it's really the only realistic way forward to get a handle on all the people that are here. We like, look at this administration as being the most militant it possibly can, and how many people have they deported? Like aggressively. Like, is the number in the thousands? But like, we would need to deport in the tens of millions. We're like 10,000% away from our goal. Like, it's just not even, it's not realistic. It's not feasible. What? Somebody linked me this. Posted 11 weeks ago. In February 2015, a scandal like no other rocked the Obama presidency to its core. Oh, The Daily Show. Oh, it's going to be about
President
the suit
Obama appeared with a selfie stick. Critics called it undignified.
A lot of conservatives especially said this is not presidential, this is beneath the presidency. Why is he doing this? He's demeaning the office.
Quote, a foolproof way to make yourself look like a self-absorbed ass clown.
It's said that Ronald Reagan wouldn't even take his jacket off in the Oval Office, but now we have a commander-in-chief that's doing jump shots and actually, a stick selfie. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Tonight's question of the day. What do you think of that selfie?
Yeah, that's your president. He's got a selfie stick.
One conservative tweeted, quote, remember when the office of the president had dignity? And another wrote, quote, this definitely is a new low for our juvenile president.
Here's the leader of the free world, the guy we trust with the button for the nukes, acting like a 12-year-old.
It is ridiculous. It is beneath the president of the United States, but I think he thinks he can do no wrong. It is not only not befitting, but imagine what Reagan would have done in this situation.
You saw that he employed a selfie stick in the White House. That's befitting the office? I just don't have words for that clip.
Are we seeing a changing of the guard? Is the office not going to be as dignified as it used to be?
Scott Galloway is so based on this. Wait, let me get about Red Bull. 1 sec.
Like there's been a lot of stories about how the FBI is like, we're not doing real crimes, we're just doing what Trump thinks are crimes, or immigration, or all the resources are going to. Same thing here with the IRS. Instead of collecting taxes we are lawfully owed, this is what they're going to spend their time doing, because they're going to know where their bread is buttered. The other part is that these laws against officials, executive officials, including the president, were passed after Nixon tried to do this. So he's trying to break those up. And they're very explicit, very, a lot of, I'm just going to say, Scott Bessent, you better lawyer up if Democrat, because what you're doing here is suggesting using the IRS as a tool of retribution. And there are very clear laws that they're going to, they may run over them right now, but they're not going to outrun these things. And so I don't believe they will. And so not just Trump is also liable here for this. If Democrats, the problem is if Democrats get in power, they're going to spend all their time rounding up the criminals, right? And how does that help our country in any way? And at some point, they'll have to let some of these terrible
I do
people
think
go.
there needs. I don't know. I do think there needs to be something along the lines of like a Nuremberg trial. There needs to be I think the only way we move past this is with some sort of reckoning. And I actually believe the Democrats should be outlining the specific laws, the specific hearings, the specific subpoenas that they are going to pursue. Because to just sort of say, well, it's time to move on and come together, there needs to be moral clarity around what's going on here. Because just the DOJ being weaponized is the most serious of all of it. But in terms of IRS, what that means is a tax increase for lower middle income homes and all Democrats. Because if you're a famous Republican donor, you're telling your tax people right now, just go so far, so aggressive, don't pay this, claim a $200 million deduction on your plane, even though it costs $60 million. Yeah, well, that's not true. Just go for it. And by the way, I don't think I'll be audited. Now, what does that mean? The government has to collect at least $5 trillion a year to just fund their current commitments. They're going to have to get that money from somewhere. So if really wealthy people or people in the president's stead, which happen to be billionaire Republicans who are paying a disproportionate, I mean, they're a key part of the tax code. There's this notion that the rich don't pay taxes. No, the rich, probably the top 10% pay about 80% of federal taxes. Are they, as a percentage of their wealth, paying their fair share? I think that's up for real debate. But in terms of a gross dollar amount, because they make so much more money than anyone, they're a huge part of the tax base. And if you decide to start letting them off the hook, you're going to have to get other people to pay disproportionately more. So
I don't care about it so much about the tax thing. He's right about there has to be some accountability thing. One of the issues that you run into is when you're making contracts with people, you want to have your interests aligned as much as possible. So like in the meme world, in the TV world, in the online world, when people are talking about contracts, they talk about contracts where it's like a good contract, a good negotiation is when everybody feels like they got fucked. Or like you're trying to write contracts to be as brutal as possible. No. Well, not with your top talent. With the underlings, maybe. But like if you're working with big entities, two big entities are working with each other, the goal is to have your interests aligned as much as possible. You want to protect your upsides and you want to protect from downsides as much as possible. Generally, you're trying to align interests, okay? Now, when you're writing a contract, okay, this contract for a big business is representing, sometimes a lot of different interests, mainly your shareholders, the people that have equity stake in the company. When the company gets increases in value, revenues, it pays dividends, it's the share prices go up, right? These people are being enriched. And then the same thing happens on this other side. Imagine that you write a contract and imagine, go back, you missed the part where they were talking about Democrats even have Nuremberg style. No, I heard it. I turn my speakers on when I walk away. I agree with them. Imagine you're writing a contract and in one of the provisions of this, you guys come to negotiations and you make, your contract. Imagine in one of the provisions of this, you have it written that anytime, whenever red fucks, blue in the ass, red gets $1 million. Right? But like hopefully they don't you don't want them to enact this provision or to take advantage of this, and you hope that they're good enough not to. But like if they have every incentive to do this, as in it's literally built into the contract, and they've got this obligation to their shareholders behind them to do it, if this is written into the contract, any rational actor will enact this provision over and over and over and over and over and over. Why not? Every time you fuck them in the ass, you get $1 million. You should do this not only will they do it, but they should do it. It makes sense for them to do it. Why would you have this in here and not act this way? And I view the Republican Party as being fundamentally the same. Morally, I hold them accountable for, running this country off the tracks. But in a very realpolitik, hyper-rational analysis, they should. Because why would you not? If you're a Republican, you never punish politically. You're never punished materially for any of the insane, crazy, stupid shit that you say or do. And it seems like Democrats are always willing to let you off the hook as long as they win the next election. So yeah, why not just continue to amp up the insanity over and over again? And there has to be at some point a message saying hey, just so you know, your ass is going down for this. When we're back in office, we are coming after you because this is insane. Because without that signal there, they're just going to keep doing the same thing over and over again, The Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation Institute learned that the government of Ontario, Canada created an ad campaign using selective audio and video of President Ronald Reagan delivering his radio address to the nation on free and fair trade, dated April 25th, 1987. The ad misrepresents the presidential radio address, and the government of Ontario did not seek nor receive permission to use and edit the remarks. Wait, would they have to? What? The Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation Institute is reviewing its legal options in this matter. We encourage you to watch President Reagan's unedited video on our YouTube channel. What? Destiny, but it feels like we don't want people to act rationally in politics / the government, right? Don't we want them to act principally within the bounds of the government? Well, like acting with good moral principle and acting with good rationality, according to Kant, should always align, right? Perfect rationality is how you arrive at more. Isn't that the whole fucking Kant's bullshit? I mean, but the reality is we're all human beings, and we all come from a similar biological foundation. And as a result of that, we all kind of want the same things. I take an intuitive approach to, meta ethics or whatever. Goodness is some intuitive thing that we're all kind of pointing towards. So ideally, our rationality is pointing us in a similar direction morally, maybe not always identically, but similarly. So anytime somebody can act with extreme disregard for the well-being of a bunch of other people, there's got to be some incentive structure that's misaligned that we can realign to bring back the rational thought process of how to enact some provision, some policy, something in some business or government that's also like benefiting the majority of people as well, right? Is this the art of the deal? Everything Trump does is the art of the deal, okay? Trump will fuck Netanyahu if he jeopardizes the Gaza ceasefire deal, a U.S. official said. If he keeps going, he'll fuck up the Gaza deal, and if he fucks up the deal, Donald Trump will fuck him. Based. Okay, I guess. I don't know. Somebody linked something about number of illegal immigrants. Unauthorized immigrant population reached a record 14 million in 2023. Oh yeah, I don't know what the reality is, because does this count people that are coming in and claiming asylum? The increase in 2021 is driven by growing numbers of unauthorized immigrants living here, some protections from British citizens, such as immigrants paroled into the country and asylum seekers. Asylum applicants is 2.6 million. Oh fuck, that number is way less than I thought it was. I thought this number was like, what did I think this number was? I thought it was like 10 million plus. Maybe it grew substantially at the end of 2024. I don't know. Trump lies so much about this number. Apparently it was 25 million, so I have no idea. They said 6 million are protections from deportation. Yeah, but that was like 6 million total, right? And that's included in the center's estimate of 14 million unauthorized immigrants. So that means the number hasn't even climbed that much, which I guess, funnily enough, kind of tracks with what I said before, that the whole problem is fake. Because the number, even under Obama, was estimated always, I thought, between like 10 to 13 million. So if it's 14 million now, then it seems like it actually didn't really grow that much, no? In 2008, it would have been 12.2 million. And then now it's at 14 million. How do you reconcile the pace of the authoritarian takeover with the simultaneous feeling that there's a grand pushback / reconciliation building right around the corner? Is it just copium? Well, the big thing is that, like, the problem is that the anger and the rage have to be focused on effective actions. One of the reasons why Republicans are so good at politics is because they always have a focus politically on their actions. They're always like focused on some policy or some election or some actual thing. And people on the left, I don't know if it's because it tends to be younger or driven by more radical people. The anger is always unchanneled, and it's just too vague. It's just in a ton of different directions. Like Occupy Wall Street didn't get anything done because what does that mean? Corporations aren't people and banks are evil. I don't know what we're supposed to do with that. Or Black Lives Matter didn't do anything because defund the police. What the fuck does that even mean? Who knows, right? The issue is that there's never like what was January 6th about? January 6th was about going to the Capitol on the day that the vote was being tallied and cooing the government. It was a very specific call to action on a specific day with a specific narrative about a specific group of people, right? It was a specific action. Come to the mall and we're going to protest, riot, insurrect. It was about a specific thing. The election had been rigged. This was planned for a year. It was about a specific group of enemies, people that were not supporting Trump, so Democrats and weak Republicans. It was led by the political leader, Donald Trump. It was a specific call to action on the day of. Go to the Capitol, insurrect. Like everything about it was so pointed and measured, as opposed to, BLM and Occupy were organized by activists. January 6th was organized by the president. I think the issue is that Dem politicians don't take up the space they need to in the discussions. Yeah, true. But I feel like activists just feel to me on the left very antagonistic, even towards the party. Whereas activists on the right feel like they're built into the party apparatus, right? Like if there was a left-wing Charlie Kirk, then this would probably be somebody who would spend half their time shitting on Democrats. But the right-wing Charlie Kirk was having phone calls with the president of the United States every week or every other week, right? Like it's a totally different apparatus. But somehow, and it's so funny, and I don't know if it's like a form of projection or some kind of like psychological protection, but if you just like casually follow the news, you get the exact opposite impression, right? Republican stuff is all grassroots. Left-wing stuff is all funded by Soros. On the Republican stuff, they champion things like independent media, even though all of them take orders from Trump directly, basically, right? Like they are all in communication with the whole right-wing apparatus. And on the left, they all have the exact same messaging always, even though they don't. And their messaging half the time is just like being super critical of the libs. On the right, they talk about how the deep state exists, but then they're colluding, Trump's party is colluding with Fox News to spread misinformation. And then on the left, the deep state is literally forcing Biden out of office because Obama and Pelosi and everybody are leaking shit to the... It's just like, the reality is just so different from what's actually happening. And the average American, I think, is fully bought into that. Like, I think the average American would agree with the right-wing perspective that the left is very inauthentic, that there might be a lot of paid protesters, or at the very least, they think it's like both sides are equal, when in reality, it's one side doing the total opposite. In new debates, the MAGA people seem to speak weirdly, short words, incomplete sentences, and slogans. Also, their sentences aren't connected together with any thread. It's creepy. Why? I mean, there's not much logic you can do. You're kind of like hitting on just like key points that make them emotionally feel good. One thing that people bring up that I kind of agree, and I kind of was leaning on to like, I did at least one thing where I asked a guy a question. I was like, tell me about but it was like about Israel-Palestine. I do feel uncomfortable at these events. I don't like bullying people in front of a crowd where everybody's already against them anyway. And at these events, it's generally left-wing people coming out. So if there's a right-wing person who wants to come up and talk, it's hard for me to like really lean into it and go really hard because this guy's already like talking in front of a crowd that's kind of hostile towards them. I don't know. Fuck. I don't know if there's a way that how to remedy that. Rogan was literally saying this as well, Destiny. Saying what?
All those people that are protesting on the streets, 99% of them are losers. The other ones work for the Fed.
I have a whole joke about that. It's like fucking, if
it's FBI agents and losers. That's all it is. The whole every protest, dude, is FBI agents and losers.
I talk about this all the time. I'm like, for me, you want me to join a protest? You want me to get out on the street? First of all, to make a sign? The fuck out of here. And then
you don't have to make the sign. There's a guy with a van who's paid by George Soros, yes, and he's got stacks of signs that were made at Kinko's. Okay, they're not homemade at all, and you just just pass those bad boys out. All those.
Like, people believe this unironically. But the funny thing is that this basically happens on the other side, verbatim, should have a convo with Anti-Profit. Half his audience is right-wing crypto bros, but it turns out he's a DGGer. This sounds so mean. I'm not trying to sound mean. Generally, when people, especially for Islam, if I'm thinking of the right guy, right? He's the guy who broke away from Islam. Usually people that make their content all about like a particular topic it's harder to have a general conversation with them, and they can break politically and really, oh, no, I think that's apostate prophet. Never mind, just kidding. I don't know who Anti-Prophet is. Have I seen stuff of his before? What do you think? Are they stupid or malicious? Well, the politicians, the people who are part of the Republican apparatus are malicious. People like Joe Rogan might be stupid, but they're so stupid it borderlines on recklessness or maliciousness. Like, what would you say? Like, if I went into a hospital, let's say I watched like 5 YouTube videos on open heart surgery, and I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe. And I go into a hospital and I sneak in and I like get a surgeon outfit and I go to perform the surgery, and I'm really trying to do my best. I'm not trying to kill the dude. I end up killing the guy. Like, would you say I was being malicious or stupid? Like, it's stupid, but what the fuck? Like, how could you be so reckless? Like, how could you be so reckless? Like, at some point, like, stupidity crosses over into, I mean, legally it does. Stupidity crosses over into reckless endangerment, right? Your manslaughter, into your murder 2, or your murder 3 into your murder 2, or like...
So we'll do a few more and we'll go home.
Wonderful.
Everybody's going to go home. I'm going back to the Oval Office, however.
Speaking of Democrats, there's a report that there's a grand jury on Adam Schiff for apparent mortgage fraud. If he isn't...
Wow. The fact that they're doing all this weird mortgage fraud shit is like the way they're trying to get everybody. It's so disgusting.
Indicted. Should he step down as a U.S. Senator?
Well, I'm not going to comment on that. I would just say... Adam Schiff is one of the lowest forms of scum I've ever dealt with in politics. He's a horrible...
What did Biden ever say about, like, Marjorie Taylor Greene? What's the equivalent statement on the left to this? I asked that one guy, I think. I don't remember what my comparison was. I was like, what's the equivalence on the left to this action? There are, like, 10 different examples that you could give now. What's the equivalent on the left to this behavior, just from this year alone? And there's nothing. They won't have anything.
Human being, very dishonest person. I have no idea what's going on. You tell me that he's going to be indicted. I don't know. You could ask Pam. I don't know if she could say it. Probably you are allowed to say it, but I wouldn't know about that. I can only tell you he's a very bad. I think he's actually a sick person. Do you want to talk about that?
We're not going to comment on any grand jury that's open. We can't legally.
So there is a grand jury that's open. The correct statement, by the way, is the policy of the Department of Justice is we just don't talk about investigations. If we have something to say by the end of any one, then we'll release it, but that's it. That's what the correct statement. So she did confirm there basically that there is an open grand jury, but okay.
Legally.
I don't know. By the way, I hope it's true, but I don't know anything about it. Yeah, please.
This report broke hours before this conference. Prosecutor told DOJ there's not enough evidence to indict Trump. Which prosecutor? Oh, so they're just going to hand it off to the cunt. What's her name? Halligan or something? Lindsay Halligan? They'll just give it to her, right? Republicans accusing Democrats of everything they do themselves is very intentional by shifting the Overton window when they are accused of Democrats of those things. The people say, well, yeah, but the Dems do the same thing. Yeah, I've said this. This is like their strategy. It's kind of like when they, you know how they used for a while all of the language about the Obama stuff? They kept saying things like, this is seditious conspiracy. This is an insurrection. This is an attempted coup, right? They're trying to reprogram the language that was used accurately to describe Trump's behavior in 2020. Kushner redefines corruption.
What people call
conflicts of interest. Steve and I call experience and trusted relationships that we have throughout the world. If Steve and I didn't have these deep relationships, the deal that we were able to help get done that freed these hostages would not have occurred. We have trusted relationships in the Arab world and even in Israel, where we've both done business in the past, but that means they trust us, we understand their cultures, we understand how they work, and we're able to use those, that knowledge and skill set to try to do things that advance the world.
I would... Like, at the very least, maybe I just have a soft spot for intelligent people, because I still think they're a piece of shit for being involved in this. I can respect Kushner for being an intelligent man. I don't know how he can sit here and be a con man next to Steve Witkoff, who's a fucking retard, a DJ. I have never in my life been more radicalized against the billionaire, millionaire, elite class or whatever than this shit. Like, these guys are just so fucking stupid. And it's ironic too, because it was an American stereotype. I'm not gonna be able to find this clip, am I? The lady who's supposed to be like an amalgamation of a bunch of different researchers, but she's talking to that one guy at the table, and she's like, "I'm a nuclear physicist," and the guy's like, "And I used to be a shoemaker. Welcome to the new party," or whatever.
Deputy. I'm absorbing radioactive iodine.
We were spreading fear.
I know about Chernobyl.
Oh?
I know that the core is either partially or completely exposed.
Whatever that means.
And that if you don't immediately issue iodine tablets and then evacuate the city, hundreds of thousands of people are going to get cancer, and God knows how many more will die.
Yes, very good. There has been an accident at Chernobyl, but I've been assured there is no problem.
I'm telling you that there is.
I prefer my opinion to yours.
I'm a nuclear physicist. Before you were deputy secretary, you worked in a shoe factory.
Yes, I worked in a shoe factory. And now I'm in charge. To the workers of the world.
Based. This is supposed to be the stereotype that we had for commies, that they would promote people who didn't deserve it for ideological reasons into places that they were unqualified for, and that was one of the big reasons why these forms of governance don't work. And when I see dipshits like Witkoff having anything to do with foreign negotiations on anything, this guy is just he's just fucking retarded. He doesn't deserve to be anywhere near these talks.
And trusted.
This is the guy who went on Tucker Carlson and didn't know the regions in Ukraine that were contested. He's the guy who went to Russia to speak to Putin and used the translator that they provided. He's a fucking idiot. Like, say what you will about Kushner. Kushner's not stupid, or at least I never got the impression that Kushner's stupid.
The relationships that we have throughout the world. If Steve and I didn't have these deep relationships, the deal that we were able to help get done that freed these hostages would not have occurred. We have trusted relationships in the Arab world and even in Israel, where we've both done business in the past, but that means they trust us, we understand their cultures, we understand how they work, and we're able to use those that knowledge and skill set to try to do things that advance the world.
I would agree exactly with what Jared said, and I like his statement that conflict of interest is a terminology used by some, and we call it experience. We really do.
You call conflict of interest experience?
Because we don't think there was a conflict of interest, Leslie. That's why. Because we don't think that we crossed any ethical barriers. Because there becomes this sort of perception.
Oh, well, as long as you, who stand everything to gain from this and are doing these negotiations behind closed doors in like these unelected roles in the White House, well, if you think that there was something wrong, okay, well then great.
That there might be a conflict of interest because we can call Sheikh Mohammed in Qatar directly, or because we can call Bibi directly, or because we can call the foreign minister of Turkey, who is a very critical person in this equation, or call MBZ in the Emirates, or MBS.
Get him on the phone.
Immediately,
yeah.
and garner support.
So, like, he is correct, though. Like, I agree with parts of what he's saying. People will say conflict of interest. Like, when people talk about, like, lobbyists going to corporations, or corporations becoming, you know, like FDA people or whatever, like, you do need people with some kind of experience to operate in these realms. But when you still have the business and you're negotiating, well, that is very clearly a conflict of interest. Like, conflict of interest isn't a thing that magically goes away just because you're looking for somebody with experience. And Steve Witkoff is like one of the big owners of that World Liberty Financial Group that the Trump family has bought into, that does a lot of the crypto scamming and shit that he's running around the world, like cutting deals as a part of.
The president, when we went to that UNGA meeting with the Arab leaders, came out of that with almost unanimity, a consensus support from everybody there. We had been working those telephone lines to all the leaders of those countries. We were not talking to junior people or lieutenants over there. We were talking directly to the people who make the final decisions. And that ultimately became very, very critical to us being successful.
I want to ask you about a statement you made that may have framed your outlook on this. Jared, you said, issues are simple. It's the people who are complicated and complex. Issues are simple. Now, that really is inverting the way diplomacy has worked.
Yeah. Well, I agree with him, by the way. I agree with that statement. I say all
and
the
your
time.
issues were so thorny, they're still hard to get through.
I like to say, Leslie, and it's a version of what you quoted Jared is just saying, I like to say that we're sort of like, our title should be Secretary of Miscommunication and Correcting Miscommunication. Because that's a lot of what we were doing out there. You know, we were trying to build trust between people who didn't trust each other because of decades of mis and distrust. And that's not an easy thing to correct.
Can I say the issues are simple and the people are complicated? Yeah. When I first started looking at this file, I spoke to everyone who'd been involved in the Middle East diplomacy for the 20 years prior. Joint interests with other countries and pursue those joint interests, and then where you have differences on interests or values, discuss those privately and try to find ways to get it to the best place possible. But the way that we were successful in the first term with a lot of the different trade deals and peace negotiations like Abraham Accords and ending the GCC dispute was that we never approached it with people like we were across the table from you. We sat with the people from other countries and we said, let's agree on the same objective. And then once we agreed on the objective, we kind of locked arms and said, let's figure out ways that we can work together to try and get there. We joke with the Abraham Accords that we succeeded at Plan C, but only because we went through the alphabet 3 times and failed at every letter and kept going, and we never quit.
And was that true here as well?
We probably went through the alphabet 7 or 8 times.
I think so.
Like in any other world, how do you get away with this statement? When you guys did the Abraham Accords, you declared over and over again, peace in the Middle East, peace in the Middle East, peace in the Middle East. I remember hearing Ben Shapiro say this a million fucking times with regards to the Abraham Accords.
Okay, so the New York Times reports this. Israel and the United Arab Emirates reached a landmark accord sealed by President Trump on Thursday that could presage a broader...
This is a truly historic moment. Not since the Israel-Jordan peace treaty was signed more than 25 years ago has so much progress been made towards peace in the Middle East. By uniting 2 of America's closest and most capable partners in the region, something which said could not be done, this deal is a significant step towards building a more peaceful, secure, and prosperous Middle East.
By the way, it is also apparent that Oman and Bahrain are going to follow UAE in normalizing Israeli ties, and Saudi Arabia cannot be far behind. So this means a complete opening of the Middle East in many, many ways. It is a very, very good day for peace in the Middle East. Now, that is not stopping people who hate peace from being very, very angry about this. Of course, the Palestinians have decided they are going to withdraw their embassy from the UAE, to which the UAE is like, what do we care? You guys are supported by Iran. And good luck to you. Enjoy yourselves. Ahmad Majdalani.
So if this guy was the big architect of that, right? In any sane world, we would say, oh, okay, well, clearly that didn't work. And clearly everything was moot for this, right? Because we went from peace in the Middle East to the Middle East in turmoil like a few years later, 3 years later, right? So why is this guy being brought in again to do more negotiations? We bombed Iran. Assad, the Syrian regime completely collapsed. Assad is gone. Israel had the October 7th attacks. The border riots, the Great March of Return followed. The signing of the Abraham Accords. Whatever is going on in Sudan is still happening. The Yemen civil war, still carrying. So this was a complete and total fucking failure. So why are you even being brought in again? But they don't even have to actually reconcile with the fact that it was a failure, because look, they bring it up favorably. What are we doing here? Why? What are we talking about here? Like, this peace agreement that you championed is just like Trump's U.S., Mexico, Canada trade agreement was also a complete and total fucking failure, because now we've blown up our trade relations with Mexico and Canada. So why are we being brought in here to... What's happening? What's going on here? I don't understand.
I heard that one of the things that was different from a diplomatic approach was that you took risks, more risks, a lot of risks. Would you agree with that?
Well, first I would say that President Trump is a very different sort of president to work for. He delegates well. I don't think people realize that. He gave us a lot of authority to negotiate. He felt, he understood the dynamics of it. We put him in the room. We explained it to him, I think, thoroughly. But he gave us lots of authority, Leslie.
Yeah, because he doesn't know anything about what's going on. Of course he gives you lots of authority, because he has no opinion on any of it. He just wants you to make the problem go away. Somebody said apparently he says this.
Can you explain why?
Oh, wait.
Thinking it would be a 15 or a 20-minute meeting. We'll get that one. But I set up a meeting for him to meet with President Putin, thinking it would be a 15 or a 20-minute meeting. Steve had no idea about Russia, had no idea about Putin too much, didn't know too much about politics, wasn't that interested. He was really good at real estate, but he had that quality that I was looking for, and I didn't see it around in too many ways. And I set up the meeting with Putin, and I called. I said, is Steve finished yet? That was about a half an hour into the meeting. No, sir, he's not. He's still inside. This is in Moscow. I said, well, how's he doing? I don't know, sir. He's still inside. I called up an hour later. Let me speak to Steve. Sir, he's still with Putin. He's with President Putin. I said, wow, that's a long meeting, 1 hour. I called up an hour later. He was still with Putin. 3 hours later, he was still with Putin. 4 hours later, he started to get the word that he was going to be coming out soon. And in 5 hours, he came out. I said, what the hell were you talking about for 5 hours? And he says, just a lot of interesting things. We're talking about a lot of interesting things, including what he went in there for, but you can't talk about it for 5. You can talk about it for a certain period of time, and you know what you're getting. But
what the fuck did he, what does that even mean?
Talk about it. Interesting things, including what he went in there for, but you can't talk about it for 5. You can talk about it for a certain period of time, and you know what you're getting. But that's a talent.
Like, why don't we have AI that just redoes this speech but gives it to Biden and then play it as an example of Biden being incoherent and senile, get all the MAGA people to jump on it? Like, actually.
It's including you know what you're getting. But that's a talent. That's a talent. We'll get that.
Trump's top economic advisor.
Canada. Here is the Truth Social posted last night. Canada cheated and got caught. They fraudulently took a big buy ad saying that Ronald Reagan did not like tariffs, and actually he loved tariffs for our country and its national security. I've seen the video going back to the 80s from the Presidential Library. What's with this latest spat, and how far does it go?
Well, I don't think that anything that the President truthed yesterday is about just one thing. The fact is that the negotiations with the Canadians have not been very collegial. They've not been going well. I think the President's very frustrated. He wants a great deal with Canada, just like he wants a great deal with Mexico. But a sign of how difficult the Canadians have been is that we're now kind of negotiating with the Mexicans all by themselves.
Like, it just needs to be a constant ringing on all these worthless left-wing media channels. This is Fox News, to be fair, but I mean, it seems like it'd be the same thing on CNN. So the great deal maker, the guy who can make all the best deals on his Republican Congress, has left the government unfunded, has broken trade relations with our closest ally. I think Canada's our largest trading partner. This is the same person this is the same country that you supposedly renegotiated NAFTA with 5 years earlier. How the fuck has our trading relationship with this country completely fucking fallen apart? We still have 0 trade deals, despite some people in my debate saying otherwise. There is no actual trade deal with anybody ever. We have no trade deals ever with anybody. Nothing is happening anywhere. We keep going back and forth on tariffs with fucking China. I think we've reset those. Like, I don't know what the fuck what's going on. The government has been unfunded for more days under Trump than every other president combined for all of U.S. history. We're at no end in sight. Are we even, like, what? Trump is tearing down the east wing of the White House to put in some gaudy, disgusting fucking ballroom? Like, what the fuck?
All three.
I'm sorry to jump in here. I'm just trying to get another. I got one more thing to get to here, and they're trying to wrap me. Was that a point of negotiation that we saw last night? Is that what that is?
I think the President's very frustrated with Canada, and he has a right to be, and I think that's what that is.
Okay. Canada.
Jesus. I don't even know how many of these accounts are real versus like Russian bots. Oh, the Binance guy got pardoned. I still like company fake EV truck CEO Trevor Milton. I still like this guy. That Trump pardoned his thing. Trump pardoned everything. He had to pay like $100-some million back to people in restitution, and it got completely pardoned by him. And this guy's defense attorney was Brad Bondi. Yes, that is the brother of Pam Bondi. And a month prior to the 2024 presidential election, Milton and his wife donated more than $1.8 million to a fund supporting Donald Trump's re-election. March 27th, 2025, given a full pardon by President Donald Trump. And as a result, he will not need to compensate Nikola shareholders who had lost tens of millions of dollars. $168 million was the restitution he was supposed to pay. It's just like beyond believability. Ross Ulbricht was also pardoned. Is that the Silk Road dude? I never looked enough into his shit. Some people were saying that it was like bullshit, that he got arrested. Other people were saying he legit tried to get a dude murdered, but I never dug into it enough to have a strong opinion about it. Literally cartoon villain levels of corruption. Like, unironically, yeah. Thoughts on having a running tally of corrupt shit to wheel out during debate? I mean, I don't know. I bring it up and they just like, they have nothing. They can't respond to any of it. There's like, it's indefensible. What's this? Uh-oh.
Hey, what's up? It's Miskiff.
Hey, Miskiff.
And I want to show you a quick video.
Uh-oh.
I made a video, got a fuck ton of views, has 98.7% like ratio, called Twitch is Collapsing. And this was about Trainwreck's bombshell tweet, now totally debunked, about Miskiff and I forget whoever else was involved. And I made a video that was like incredibly damaging. It was just not at all based in fact, because you don't have fact when you make a video based off of tweets that are completely made up. These videos have no research to them. These videos are aggregates of what is available to see online.
In September 2020.
Nobody ever says it. Kiwi Farms brings it up a lot though, but for a lot of like commentary YouTubers and stuff, basically what they'll do is they just open a KF thread, they copy paste everything into a video, and then they release it as their own research, which generally speaking, I mean, KF is usually not wrong about stuff, but it's just funny that that's like the pathway, but they're all too scared to mention the site.
Me too. I was accused of covering up sexual assault by Trainwreck TV. This resulted in the biggest drama that has ever happened in the history of Twitch, where dozens of the top content creators attacked me for weeks, saying that I covered up sexual assault and I deserved to be banned. Ludwig was one of those content creators who made a video titled Twitch is Collapsing with over 3 million views. This video told people that I was the only one involved in this whole thing and I orchestrated basically a cover-up. This resulted in me losing so many of my fans, torpedoed my career, destroyed my mental health to something that I don't know if ever will come back, and has ruined my life and almost everyone I know around me. I'm not doing this as a hit piece on Ludwig. I really don't care that he apologized or said that he fucked up. I'm making this video because I think a lot of people on Twitch understand that it was false and understand that it's not true. But on other platforms like Instagram and TikTok, a lot of people hate me because of this. I hate that this happened, but I keep moving on. And if you're someone that watched me over the years but thought I did that, give me another chance. And if you're someone that hated me already because of this, you'll probably hate me watching my content anyway.
Wow.
Thank you guys for watching, and I hope this gives me a little bit of closure.
Approximately 10 p.m. on Thursday, Coast Guard security personnel standing watch on Coast Guard Island observed a vehicle driving erratically and attempting to weaponize the vehicle to ram into Coast Guard base Alameda? United States Coast Guard personnel issued multiple verbal commands to stop the vehicle. The driver failed to comply and proceeded to put the vehicle in reverse, suddenly accelerating backwards at a high rate of speed directly towards them. When the vehicle's actions posed a direct threat to the safety of the Coast Guard security personnel, law enforcement officers discharged several rounds of defensive line fire. No Coast Guard personnel were injured. 2 civilians were injured, expected to survive. Why was I linked this?
They're gonna shoot that thing.
What is happening? Talk about brave reporters. Holy shit. These guys are just... Did this guy stay standing here the entire time? Oh my god. Why don't we have this guy's footage? Bro, we need this guy at every shoot. What the fuck? Is this the Nightcrawler dude? What the fuck? And he's like, look at the careful panning on his gimbal. He's like trying to stabilize the video and everything. As he's like strafing, he's keeping the camera centered on everything. What the fuck? I don't know what was happening here. This is not a long enough video to give me a... Like, this video just makes them look bad. It doesn't look like the guy's trying to weaponize the vehicle for anything. It looks like the guy's, like, lost or something. Like, I can't tell, but it almost looks like he's trying to like not 3-point, but like when you like turn around. Maybe? No, but the wheels aren't turning enough. I don't know what the fuck is happening in this vehicle or in this in the video with this vehicle. If you care, here's some NMP/Molina court memes. Court orders. Court finds that the parties have agreed and is therefore ordered that Nicholas Michael Palm shall pay Molina Mid-Tui Palm from community funds the sum of $10,000 per month for interpal software likely payment. What about it? Oh. I think this is somewhat normal. Like, this happens that in divorce attorneys, that both parties are entitled to draw from like spousal funds, because sometimes one person getting cut off can obviously fuck them if they were like shared money. I think this is pretty normal. I think we spoke about this before, right? Can you cover the Saeed sexual assault situation? It's really weird. Did you have a prenup with Molina? No. But she was also like working full time, and we didn't have like kids or shared property or anything.
Like you did some shit wrong. No, so the whole Saeed thing, no one essay Saeed. That's why today I was actually looking for Saeed. I was gonna talk to him, be like, you definitely felt disrespected as a person. Me, I take accountability what I do. If you dead ass felt disrespected, I didn't know. So you gotta let me know. If you did, I will always apologize. I mean, that's just normal people. But for him to walk around and say all that crazy shit, you never think about what Saeed's thinking too, though. Like, who wants to walk around being called that? That's embarrassing for him as a guy. You ain't see Saeed today? No, I was looking for him. I was looking everywhere for him. I tried to patch that up. I think he came out. No, he was here. But I didn't see him at all. I saw him one time and he disappeared. No, the moment I came over, he wasn't here.
Okay, I don't know and I don't care.
Trump just part.
Shut up.
Their civic reform are good in that they'll destroy the Tory party, but they're not the full answer because they're not ethnic nationalists. They're civic nationalists. I mean, you've got Indians in the party. I believe the deputy leader is an Indian. In actual fact, see, all non-white immigration in this country is illegal. They're all illegal because of the.
So what's your
democracy is supposed to represent the people, and people have voted successively in elections to stop immigration, and the politicians don't listen to them. Adolf Hitler said in Mein Kampf that the politicians are caterpillars, and at the election time they come out and turn into butterflies, and after the election they turn back into caterpillars. So that's exactly what's happening.
That's quite the quote. Okay.
And then, well, I think that in terms of honesty, the only thing I can say is every time I speak with Vladimir, I have good conversations, and then they don't go anywhere. They just don't go anywhere. So in that
sounds like not a good conversation then.
Sense, but
that sounds like you're getting played like a senile No, not like a senile, because I don't think this guy was ever that intelligent. Just like a retard. You're just getting played like an idiot because you're not qualified for the fucking job.
take. White people have to stop calling out autism like in public.
100% disagree.
Then you don't have enough white friends.
I have a lot. I actually have too many white friends. Everyone in my life is white, and they go, "That guy's autistic." I go, "I agree."
Exactly. No, but we don't do that in like other cultures.
What cultures do we not do that in?
Latin culture, we just go, "That's Jose, and he likes to sweep." Like you just let that guy rock. Raul's just good at numbers.
Arabs just go, "He's."
Exactly. Yeah. But no one says it.
Right.
I think saying it is crazy because like when you were a kid and you saw someone with a disability or an ailment, and then let's say you looked at them and your parents were like, "Don't do that." You're like, "Oh, learned my lesson." And then now it's like we've reverted back and people are like, yo, that one. You're like, yo, what are we doing?
I also do think that white.
Okay. What was the tweet by, or it wasn't a tweet. It was a tweet, but it was a statement by RFK. Was it RFK or someone else who's like, when we were kids, there weren't sick children, but now children are getting sick? I don't even know, bro. That was RFK. What's happening? What are we doing? What are we doing out here, guys? See the CS Skin drama? Yeah, I don't care. Fuck them. I don't care about any of the CS Skin people. I think all that shit is weird as fuck. Apparently they made it so you can combine items to trade up for skins, and now it's hurt the market a lot. But I don't know. I think it's all weird. Oh, was it Rob Schneider? Oh, it was this. This is the tweet I was seeing. Never mind. This was an RFK statement. For your information, there were no children's hospitals when I was a kid because kids weren't sick. What do you mean weird? As in, like, if you want to have like in-game loot box gambling and stuff for things, then fine. Then I guess you can have that mechanic. But the idea that you can trade these things to people and sell them, it's just legalized gambling for kids. I just think it's super weird and inappropriate. Like, just go do sports gambling like every other degenerate man. Why do you have to do it in like a video game for kids? There's just, I don't know. I just think it's weird. I have no sympathy for those people getting their inventories wiped out or the valuations of their knives being fucked. Do you see that Hutch spent over 7 hours reacting to your take on Hutch v. Josiah? Okay, I didn't get this before, but I do get it now. Sometimes Hutch can, I'm not exaggerating, can literally pause for an hour in the middle of a sentence and talk. Like, and then like make a bunch of comments or statements about a thing that is addressed in literally the next sentence. It's like, sometimes it's way too much. Like, I feel like when I find myself doing this, I'll be like, wait, hold on, let me play through the rest of the sentence so he's not about to say what I'm going to say, whatever. But like, oh my God, he can pause and take so long to talk about a thing. I do regret, I guess, a little bit that the subject of that conversation had to do with court packing. I'm actually against court packing. I don't actually think it's a good idea, even though I know Josiah likes it. I was more speaking, court packing was just kind of the battleground that was there for the broader concept of should Democrats lead on unhinged behavior instead of allowing Republicans to lead, and I think that they should lead on unhinged behavior. I don't think court packing is the way to do it, but not because it's unhinged and not because the public doesn't support it, just because I don't think it's that great of an idea. I do think big court reform, which would involve having more Supreme Court justices, would be good, but I think there are better things to fight on than just court packing.
A lot of their rise has come because they just...
Oh, Taylor must be a foreign operative. I think she's a foreign. I don't trust this person. I think she's got to be paid by somebody and is here to just like stir up mayhem. We'll put this on the docket to watch. Fuck it.
Swearing in. One thing that obviously you've been pressed on many times is swearing in new members of Congress. And when it comes to swearing in Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva of Arizona, you have said that you're following the Pelosi precedent and not swearing her in. I think some people might hear that and say, since when do you want to be like Nancy Pelosi?
I don't. I'm following standard practice.
Also, it's not even like, I can't even bring this up because Republicans are so depraved, right? But you know how like in the Democrat side, we always say, like, we need to be better. We need to rise above. We need to be better. You will never hear a Republican say something like, well, Democrats did this and we need to be better than that. They will always, and half the time the behavior is fictional. It's not even a real thing they did, but they will always point to like a Democrat doing something bad and be like, they did that, so now we're doing this. And it's like, what?
Practice here.
Nancy Pelosi.
I don't. I'm following standard practice here. And I've explained this many, many times. We are happy to administer the oath to Rep-elect Grijalva as soon as we get back to legislative session. And the reason I cite Nancy Pelosi is because she was Speaker for a long time, and she did this multiple times, the same thing. Julia Letlow from Louisiana, in similar circumstances, was elected to fill the seat of her late husband who passed away because of COVID. Nancy Pelosi waited 25 days to administer the oath of office.
They agreed on that date in advance. There was no stalling or anything.
Pat Ryan and Joe Sempolinski were elected during an August recess period. So Nancy Pelosi waited 21 days until the House returned to legislative session to administer the oath to those new members. I'm doing exactly the same thing for Rep-elect Grijalva. And in the meantime, she can be serving her constituents and trying to help them through this chaos, just like the House Republicans are doing. She has 16 employees. She now has her phones and computers set up. She can be doing that, directing casework and sending them to get help, even to her 2 senators who have lots.
He was already corrected on that lie. Yeah, but they'll keep repeating it over and over again. Doesn't matter. Okay. Let me use the restroom, then we'll do our little drama memes, and then I'll watch videos. 1 sec.
Who needs more Trumps? A good example of a person that I would, like a recent example, is somebody like Duarte in the Philippines. What was Duarte's solution for the drug dealers? Just kill him. Just kill him. Okay, well, you've got drug, just shoot him. There it is. Kill them all. That happened very recently. So before people go and say, oh, well, it can never happen again because, you know, of history and the, you know, previous, like, you know, authoritative leaders like Hitler or Mussolini or Franco or, you know, Pol Pot or somebody like that. No, guys, Stalin. No. It can happen so fast and so easily. Or Bukele way? Well, in a way, but like, I think that the difference is that he's going after criminals in this way. I think that these people just want the other people out of the country, period, right? We're having the same anti-migrant marches and protests here in Australia. Yeah, and the problem is that a lot of these people haven't really been able to have a voice because they've been suppressed, because it's been like, oh, it's like racist, or, you know, it's like sexist, or, you know, Islamophobic, or some other variation of like, you can't talk about this. I'm Filipino. They're still wanting someone like Duarte back? Yeah, of course. Of course. Yep. Lucy downplayed the UK 1 million march, saying it's only 100,000. There has to be someone at the top pulling the immigration strings. I think that there's a lot of reasons why it's happening. It's not like there's not like one thing that's happening here. Canadian extremist Ezra Levin happened to be in Ireland for an impromptu far-right riot, refugee center. The far-right didn't recognize him, so they belted him. Thoughts and prayers. Yeah, there it is. Ireland is on fire. Look at this. All of this is happening right now.
Who knew that this whole time the true political visionary
Guys, what's the one problem right now that's not going to be around in 2070? The elderly and the disabled. Because we're just going to kill them. We're just going to kill them. So we looked at the data.
based. That's it. For all of our political opponents, I guess. You're seeing there's a carrier headed towards Venezuela now, announced an hour ago, based. Oh, actually, before I get into anything, you will sit here and listen to my tales because of how much I hate my life. Okay. There's a camera. There's a box. And there's my laptop. When I'm setting up for these events, I have to run a cable. Okay, think of this as an HDMI cable. It's actually SDI, but it's for video. And I have to plug in power for each of these cameras. Okay. Now, on one of these calls with a bunch of loser, quote unquote, professionals, okay, I was advised that there is actually a way that I could have this set up so that, why do I have SDF here? There's a way that I could set this up so that I don't actually need to run two cables. And that I can actually, what's the default width? 4? There we go. Instead of running both an SDI cable and a power cable, I could just run a single Ethernet cable. And the Ethernet cable would do power and video. Now, this is cool for a few reasons. One, I don't have to locally power every camera, because usually you have to roll out power and extension plugs and everything. It's just a lot of work, okay? It's not impossible, it's annoying to do, okay? But then two, an Ethernet cable, it's just easier to work with. They weigh less than an SDI cable. It's a thicker coax, like, oh, that'd be cool. Power and video to one thing, okay? It just makes my setup easier, less time involved. I don't have to worry about like getting somebody else to bring power to my cameras. I have more flexibility with where I move my cameras. It's great, okay? So a few things, okay? One thing that I've spoken about a lot is there's a thing called form factor, okay? And I've complained about this a lot because some people thought that when we moved everything to USB-C, everything would become instantaneously simpler. But that's not necessarily true because USB-C just denotes what the cable plugs into, okay? Meaning that it's not necessarily telling you what the cable can do, just some bare minimum things like it can do maybe a little bit of power and maybe a little bit of data. I don't even know if a USB-C cable has to deliver any data whatsoever. So USB-C can do a lot of different things, okay? Well, when it comes to Ethernet cables, okay, there is a thing called, I think it's called RJ45. This is the form factor of an Ethernet jack, all right? So my first assumption was, okay, cool. I just need an RJ45, I just need an Ethernet cable. I can plug my camera into some kind of switch, and then I can get video and power directly from the cameras. Cool, sounds good, right? Wrong, idiot. That's where you're wrong, okay? So the first issue was, I tried to get a switch for this, a powered switch, an unmanaged power switch. But what I found out was these cameras need a lot of power. I think it's about 40 watts or maybe more, 50 watts per camera. And the issue is not only is it a lot of wattage, it's a certain type of Ethernet power. So the standard is different in order for the device to even negotiate power transfer. And it's a class 4, or it might be type 4, class 7, 8. It's a class 4 PoE power designation, also referred to as PoE+++. And the first switch that I bought, the Unity or Ubiquity or whatever the fuck it was called switch, was just PoE++. So even though the PoE++ could handle the power, it doesn't matter. It's a different standard. Even if you have enough wattage on PoE++, it's not going to power this camera because the camera doesn't recognize the standard. It can't do it. So it's like, okay, well, that was a huge waste. We bought that. No reason. Whatever. Fuck me. Okay. But I'm still kind of interested in how can I make this one Ethernet thing work? It should theoretically be possible, right? So I bought this godforsaken device. Okay. This guy, my IP converter 4x12G power. This guy, okay? I bought him. Okay, he's got all my things. I'm like, okay, this is the guy. We should be able to do this, okay? So this arrived on the 21st. Now, I still have like half a day to troubleshoot because I think I flew out of here to Vegas on the night of the 21st. So I should have like 5 hours to troubleshoot. I don't think I streamed that day because I wanted to dedicate my time to this. It's like, okay, we should be fine, okay? So I plug in all the cameras and then I turn them on and it works. And I'm like, oh my God, all 3 cameras all have power. The device is good. And I'm like, oh my God, with the one cable. And then I look at the on-screen display, but I'm not getting video. That's kind of weird. I plug in the IP converter to my laptop. I do a firmware update. Maybe it's just out of date. I don't know. Buy it or whatever. I do that. And then it still doesn't work. So I'm kind of finagling cables. I'm like, maybe there's a setting on the camera. I, change all the cameras and everything. And I'm like, okay, it's not working. For the first time in my life, I made a phone call to tech support from Blackmagic. I'm like, maybe the people there can help me. And I called them, and they went back and forth. It's obvious the guy didn't have the tech answer for me. And then I had like one friend who tried to give me advice. And it seemed like I would need to buy one of each of these or some similar device per camera. So I would have to connect some inline converter for each device in order for it to be, not this, but there's like a $400 one. It's a Blackmagic IP converter. Either this device per thing or this is the one. I would have to buy this for each one. So it's like, okay, well, I would need to buy $1,200 of inline converters. What the fuck is the point of the box at this point? Like, I'm going to have to lug this whole shit around with me. I swear to fucking God. I swear to God that I thought that this device could do like exactly what I was looking for. Like, why would it be called this and not be able to do this? I don't understand what's happening. Okay. So I dig around, I do a bunch of Googling, and eventually after like eventually I stumble onto this, which I think is a post we'd brought up on Steam before, or not on Steam, on stream, sorry. Finally, it works. Blackmagic Camera 9.4 beta. And I was like, oh shit, okay. There was a beta update, I guess. I thought I had the latest firmware on the cameras, but maybe I didn't have the latest firmware. So whatever. So I was like, okay, fuck it. I'll pack this. I'll update the firmware on the cameras when I land in Vegas. Should be fine. I think we're okay. So I fly to Vegas, land, hotel, that I think is like at around 11 p.m. or midnight. And so I turn everything on, and I think I go to download it. And the download, I'm on hotel internet. It's either 1 gigabyte or 4 gigabytes. And I'm like, okay, this is a lot. So I have to wait like an hour, I think, for it to download. I'm like, okay, well, now one of the cool things about the Blackmagic stuff is, so Blackmagic Camera 9.6.2, the way that they label their versions doesn't really track the way that the firmware is updated on the camera. So this version right here is that 9.6.2 is actually version 8.2 on the cameras themselves. So I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird, but I don't know why your updater package is whatever. I don't care. So I download this, I update my firmware, and I'm like, okay, we're fine, okay? And then I plug back in the jack again, and then I fuck with it for another hour. I think it's like 3 a.m. And I have a meeting, or I have a lunch, not a lunch, I've got a breakfast like shoot that I'm supposed to be at for fucking 8 a.m. So I'm already kind of triggered. I'm gonna be tired now. And it's not working. And now I'm kind of freaking out because I didn't bring SDI cables with me. Although I could go to a store and buy them, but I don't really want to have to do that because my next one is gonna be packed and I already have like minimal time to set up. And so I go dig around more and more. I don't know if it's, I'm sorry, I'm just walking through all my suffering. I go back up and I read this post, and the final solution to this. So on April 6, 2025, they release a beta update, 9.4 beta. this software update adds support, this SMPTE 2110 IP conversion that's outputting video from the camera was in this beta update, but their beta updates live on like a separate branch that isn't necessarily merged for the main updates. So now while I would, maybe this is normal in software and I'm just not aware of it. So while I would think that like, oh, version 9.6 would probably include what was in the 9.4 beta, that's not the case. So I downloaded this version, which was another, how big are these? It's another 4.4 gigabytes, so I have to stay awake for another hour. And now I'm like, oh my God. And I update all the firmware on all 3 cameras to this, but then it worked. Everything worked perfectly. Everything ended up being okay, but it was like 5 a.m. when I went to sleep. And then I wake up at like 7 a.m. I was grumpy. Oh my fucking God. But now this one device with a simple Ethernet cable does everything I want it to. But oh my fucking God. What a fucking nightmare. Holy shit. How much leftover audio equipment do you have that you bought that you couldn't use? Oh, so much. Probably a ton.
You're not.
But the switch and everything ended up working. I don't know if August color corrected this at all or anything. But the camera and everything worked. The cameras worked. And it all worked. And it worked. Oh, I had 2 people email me. I didn't know this. Apparently if you hold the mics like this, like I'm holding this with my hands right beneath the thing. I thought you were supposed to do that, but apparently you're not supposed to do that. It changes the cardioid pattern significantly. And that's one of the reasons why the feedback can happen on the speakers. Anyway, there you go. That was my tech adventure. This version should be raw and not color corrected at all. Wait. Nice glasses, retard. Fuck. I wonder sometimes if I should bring lighting to these events. Like the back, there's so much sunlight, but this is in a shaded area. I don't know. Maybe in the future. Probably not. Fuck that. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I can't try. There's so much shit to travel around with. Oh, I'm swapped out some of my cases. I have like those Pelican cases are so nice. Is all the AV equipment at these events yours? Yeah, I use we have a Babyface interface that I run the XLR cables from the 2 mics to. I can output an independent audio channel to the speakers from the Babyface. And then I've got an ATEM switcher board. Like I take the 3 SDIs come from the back of this. They go into that little switcher board. So somebody just push a button to switch cameras, and then it all works that way. And then it all streams from my laptop. Can you fit it all on one Pelican? No, I'm using 2 cases right now. Yeah, I think. Oh, sorry. And then final quick thing. Does your flight case come pre-built so you can just plug in power into the case and take off the front of the case and have your studio set up? Does your flight case, I don't know what you mean by flight case. Did you say why your audio is cutting out repeatedly in live stream? In which audio? In this one? Was the audio ever cutting out? Does your Pelican case come pre-built? No. You take a knife and you can cut out foam, or you can, or actually, I guess, hold on one second. They have like foam inserts that you can fuck with in order to change I guess how you want to configure it. My other case, I'm still using a big NAND light box, but I bought a second Pelican case. But like this is my, like you kind of cut, you can peel away like foam. It's like, they're inserts that you can take out. So I have like all 3 of these cameras inside this case. I also have my 2 mics. My 3 drives will be here for local recording. This is the ATEM Mini right here that I use as a switcher. USB video cable, I need power for that switcher too. This is my Babyface interface. This is a USB A-type to B-type cable that connects that to the laptop. These are the 3 mic, little SDI patcher cables I use, but this is one case, and then I have a second case that I carry with me. Yeah. Link this. I think it's like a 1645 Pelican Air or 1615 Air or something. Can that foam move around inside the case? No, it's pretty stuck in there. It's this guy. Does it also work with PoE++ now with the update? With the +++? Yeah, it works with everything. Whether this little device I have works is perfect. But it's nice because like this thing here is probably, even though it's kind of heavy, I think it's probably not as heavy as carrying like 200 feet of SDI cable, and it takes up less space. And I don't have to locally power every camera, so it makes my setup like quicker because I just have to put my tripods up wherever I want them, and then I just run the Ethernet cable, and I don't have to ask somebody to get me power at each of the 3 cameras. Yeah. Do you fly with all this shit? Yeah, I have to. Shipping would be scary because if they lose it in shipment, then I'm fucked. What's in the other case? Cables, tripods take up space. Yeah. How much does it all weigh together? I think about 130 pounds. I think one case is 60 and one case is 70. Or might be 70 and 50, around that. Oh, wait. Okay, then the last thing. These. I bought these because I was just curious because fuck it. This is actually very cute. I'm glad I got this. I think they're nice. They're like, they're just like a dual monitor thing that you can plug into your laptop. And they look nice. They're plug and play. Super easy. Yeah. But Jesus. Do they count as 2 screens? Yeah. Do you have a press badge for the airport? No, but somebody emailed me about getting one and everything. Oh, you're talking about having like a mobile rack, kind of. I still prefer to work on laptops. I don't know if I'll ever get to this stage of building like a mobile rack. I hope I don't have to get that far. I don't think so. I think what I have now is good. I don't see me changing anything. The only thing I would ever change is finding smaller cameras maybe because these motherfuckers are heavy. And, but I don't want to buy even more. Bro, I have like 10 studio cameras, studio tier cameras. I've got like 3 StudioCam 6Ks and then like 4 or 5 of these Blackmagic 6K pocket cams. I have so many high quality cams. I don't want to buy any more of this bullshit. Jesus. Unless there's something else that simplifies my workflow, but